Gooning, my friends, gooning. In the great year of our Lord 2025, we have experienced such a great and vast change in the world that even gooning has become so deadly that we've had several goonicides. Now, they might not be on the same year of 2025. They might not all be accurate, okay? But just to have the concept of goonicide, my God, how far can it go? How far can gooning go? Can gooning go too far? And that's why I'm here today to talk to you about it. How far has gooning gone? Well, let's get back into the history of gooning. When was the term even come up with? Well, the term came up with like pretty recently. I would say it really started seeing use around like 2024. I mean, I haven't really heard the term until then, maybe even 2023, but from my recollection, it was like 2024 is when you start hearing the word, and that's with all the brain dead shit and the concept of brain rot and TikTok and all that crap. But what really brought on the golden age of gooning would probably be in like the early years of like, was it like 2016, that shit, where you would have the concept of the Twitch thought and the e-girl. That's when you start really seeing gooning as a real and genuine thing, baby. Gooning, that was the beginning of the fall of civilization. And also the concept of like No Nut November and all that shit was like in like the 2010s, alright? Is gooning, e-thoughts, e-girls. The fucking most notorious e-girl would be the wonderful and beautiful Belle Delphine. Though I wouldn't really say that. She's like a fucking crazy. She's crazy. But, you know, people couldn't help themselves, you know? People wanted to goon. People wanted, people wanted the sex. Alright? They couldn't help themselves with, cute anime girl. A cute anime girl that was in real life because she acted like one. You know, the gal face that she did, all the crazy shit that she did, like the fucking bathwater. My God, the bathwater. The bathwater was pretty goofy, but gooning got so bad during that period of time that you had the rise of many of the e-thoughts that we know now. And there are plenty more, plenty more that came about during the great period of the 2010s. All right, you have like people like Amaranth, and she's still somewhat relevant, even though nowadays I think people are so desensitized to sexual innuendos and sexuality, though I would have to say that isn't entirely true. Because you had the new stage of gooning that came after the great rise of the e-thought of the Twitch e-girl, where they fucking had their ass hanging out, and when Twitch really fucking just dropped the ball and fucking essentially allowed people to get naked with like no repercussions, which is like the funniest shit ever. And that really showed just how far Twitch fell. And I think, as things keep going on, I think Twitch really will have to start asking the big questions of, is this even a sustainable model? Because you have so many people on Twitch that keep on doing this shit. And all this sexual degeneracy for like a site that's supposedly advertised for like, preteens, like 12-year-olds. Like, you have to be like, it's a PG sort of site where the original intention was gaming, but now it's like all you see is tits and ass. But now you have the anime girls, the VTubers. That's the next stage. That was the next great leap of the age of gooning. The first start of this was in the terms of the West. In the East, in like Japan and Korea, you had VTubers and who did like the girlfriend experience. Like some of them did, some of them didn't. But overall, it was still like a pretty new thing. But then Melody came. Mel. She came. And she was on the cam girl side. I think everyone knows what that side is. I don't think I really need to talk about that. But I remember watching, like, you know, several channels talk about this. And there was even, you know, several Twitch thoughts, or was it cam girls, that got pissed off. Well, cam girl, Twitch thought, they're essentially the same thing, honestly. It's just that one is less explicit than the other. Alright? But, you know, we all got, you know, try and seduce prepubescent boys because, fuck it, we love children that much. Who am I to say? But that was the real start of the next great leap, was the VTuber, the lewd tuber expansion, the great usurping of the throne of the of the Twitch thought from the lewd tuber. So, what is fundamentally different between a lewd tuber and a Twitch thought? Honestly, I'll just have to say it. A lewd tuber, you have the anime style, and at this point, the Twitch thottery and the OnlyFans and all that crap was going on. Now, it wasn't as like mainstream, but I think a lot of people who just stuck on the internet for long enough, it was so oversaturated and they got so used to it that you just had all this shit, all this crap with just, oh, subscribe to my OnlyFans, subscribe to my Fansly, all that shit. Then it started to get mainstream with the OnlyFans thing so bad, and that's just indicative of how bad Gooning's got, that you could literally it's gotten so mainstream that you could literally make so much money that you could buy a fucking mortgage. You could get a mortgage, which is just funny. Though, again, I think it's a lot of propaganda behind the OnlyFans thing, and I can talk about that at a later point of how bullshit a lot of that stuff is with how much money you actually make. Like, I can just put it out there, like, I'm pretty sure someone did the statistics with the OnlyFans thing, that the median income of an OnlyFans girl is, like, lower than the median income of South Africa. Though, I'm not entirely sure on that because I don't have the data on hand, but I do remember someone doing some data on that. But yeah, so you have the OnlyFans girls and all the Twitch thoughts being usurped by girls like Melody, you know. You have her. Then the lockdowns happened. And that's when everyone started to really start shifting over from e-thoughts and e-girls to anime girls, to the VTuber, to the lewd tuber. You know? And that's what really pissed off a lot of the e-thoughts, because there were quite a few that actually got pissed off. And even to this day, the anime girls face an unjust persecution by the Twitch moderators and everyone on the internet. They face unjust bullshit, you know? But, you know, you have the rise of lewd tubers, and, you know, there are plenty of lewd tubers I can, you know, number off. Was it Numi? Bao, I guess she would fall under that. Bao the Whale, Numi, Melody. There are plenty, there are tons that I can list off, but, you know, those are like some of the big names. So you have that, and for a while, you start seeing it go on and go on with the gooning. Oh god, the gooning. Then you had the goonicide, All right, everyone remembers the Goonicide and the protest behind the Goonicide. That's the funniest shit ever. I cannot even cap about that. It's like the funniest shit ever of people just literally protesting a guy's fucking offing himself because he got caught gooning in a drive-through, which is just, my god, that's fucking horrendous. But let me just shift off from just the male side of gooning to female gooning. Because, oh yes, it's not just only male gooning. It's not just the guys. Oh no, it's far worse. It's far worse. Gooning, the epidemic of gooning has gone so far that it has even infected the fairer of the two sexes. Women too suffer from horrendous gooning. The femcel community has gone so far, has gone so down bad that you cannot handle it. It has gone so fucking crazy. So, in this part, we're going to talk about what's the difference between this? Like, what's the difference between a female gooner and a male gooner? Well, fundamentally, it's how the sexuality is consumed, the sexual content, essentially. So, dudes are much more visual, fundamentally. Now, that doesn't mean that women aren't, like, visual. Like, they like buff dudes or nice-looking pretty boys. Like, girls like that, too. But there's also an emotional aspect, an emotional characteristic behind that, which is very, very different from dudes. Very different from guys. Very different from men. Like, a man can say, like, I like the sex, but I don't love you. Like, a man is more predisposed at being able to compartmentalize, like, some of the fucking shit that they do in terms of their sexuality. It's really weird when I just try and, like, verbalize, like, how a guy's sexuality is different than a woman's sexuality. But you have that. So an example of this would be recently, it's not like so recent, but recently you have, like, the arguments over gacha games and the lewd content, the fan service that's provided. Then you have, like, Love in Deep Space, which is a lot of the guys criticize women, which I don't know why. I think it's a very moot point, very low-hanging fruit, and I don't even know what the argument's supposed to mean. I think both sexes are degenerate in their own ways if left unchecked. But yeah, so Love in Deep Space, what makes that different than most of, like, all of the other, like, gacha fan servicey games? So the difference between that and, like, most fan servicey games, it's obviously catered towards women more. And one of the most, like, funniest things ever. It's really strange, but it's kind of funny. But it also makes sense if you understand a woman's sexuality is, like, you can actually set in the calendar within that gacha game that your period cycles, which is just, like, if you just say it out loud to, like, a normal person who isn't on the internet 24/7, that's, like, the weirdest shit ever. But it does explain what makes a woman, what appeals to a woman's sexuality, essentially. What appeals to her senses. And if you're on your cycle on the calendar or whatever in the gacha game, the characters in there will mention this and do various things or whatever. I'd rather not go into too much detail, but yeah, they'll mention it, they'll talk about it. So it's a much more verbal characteristic. It appeals to a woman's imagination, you know, her fantasy of being, you know, cared for, which is kind of alludes back to, you know, the difference between the male sexuality and the female sexuality. Again, then you have something that's more mainstream. It's the female literature. Oh my god. I could give you any number of examples of how wild this can get with female literature. Like, I'll fucking later while editing, I'll show you like several book titles and shit just to show you about some of the fucking absurd shit with Gooning. Like, the female literature gets so wild. It's crazy. And if you go on TikTok and doing like the female like lit or whatever, my god, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's wild. Because, you know, you have like shit that's like Sasquatch or whatever. Like, you have literal like stuff that's about like monsters, like fucking the girl, like fucking the female character, like the female protagonist. Like, people like to say that female literature is just like it's all about love and romance, but that's so bullshit. That's literal bullshit. If you actually look at a lot of these titles, holy shit, is it fucking wild. They talk about how big the guy's dick is. It's like the size of her forearm, the size of her thigh. Fucking, I think there was like a book title called The Goblin King. It's like, wait, what? What? Because that just leads me back to thinking about like the goblins in like Goblin Slayer. Fucking that type of goblin. It's like, really? You thinking about that while you're fucking reading this? You thinking about that kind of goblin? Yeah. And then you have like, there's a Sasquatch one too. Like, I remember looking up. I'll show it if I can find it on the video of this fucking Sasquatch one. It's like, fucking Sasquatch? You want to have sex with Sasquatch? It's like, what the fuck? Is this just Monster Girls? It's like, is this just the equivalent of like Monster Girls, but without like the humanoid aspect? Because at least with the dudes who like that sort of stuff with the Monster Girls, it's like, oh, it's, you know, like a lamia, like half snake, half woman, mermaid, half fish, half woman. Like the cowgirl, half like cow, half woman. The horse girl, which is like, well, even that's like degenerate, but at least she's half like humanoid and not just full horse. But apparently with the woman, they just like the full-on monster thing and getting fucking railed by monsters. With like fucking ultra-sized appendages that fucking like causes their other stuff to bulge out because of how fucking big that they are. Okay, yeah, I know, I'm getting pretty kind of explicit here, but, you know, that's just how it is, baby. Some of this shit gets wild. But yeah, you even got that. Like, this shit can't get any worse. But yeah, then you even have, you know, oh my god, some of the stuff, the fangirling, the delusion, the delusional behavior with some of these women. Now, it's not all women, but like K-pop fans, oh boy, they are like crazy. Literal crazy. They're crazier than, I would say, some of the fucking guys who like stalk Pokimane in some ways. I say they're more mentally ill. But, you know, that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion, but fuck me. Does it get wild? Alright. I think that's enough yapping for one day. And, yeah. I kind of just wanted to talk about this because I fucking just saw a lot of shit on Twitter when just browsing it at some point, and so what? You know what? Let's talk about Gooning, and let's talk about how bad it's gotten. It's like, yeah, it's gotten pretty bad. We're fucking cooked, bro. It's over. All right. Thanks for listening. I'll see you guys later. Bye.